Norse in Wonderland, when nothing's as it seems. Norse in Wonderland, the truth will haunt your dreams. Norse in Wonderland, when nothing's as it seems. Norse in Wonderland, the truth will haunt your dreams.
They say secrets hide in plain sight. But what if the most dangerous secrets, the ones tied to ancient worship, child sacrifice, and elite immunity, are hiding behind religion itself? Today we're diving into a disturbing but deeply revealing claim. Jeffrey Epstein's niece says the family pretended to be Jewish while secretly engaging in the cult of Baal. This isn't satire, this isn't clickbait. This is the kind of story that gets buried by both the media and the algorithm, and we're going to talk about why. Why did Jeffrey Epstein's calendar always look like a flight manifest? Because his appointments were constantly up in the air, and frequently under investigation. What's the difference between a conspiracy theory and breaking news? About 6 months and one brave whistleblower. Why don't elite cults ever use Google Maps? Because they already know the quickest route to hell. Jeffrey Epstein's niece has never sought fame, and after hearing what she has to say, it's easy to see why. She made bold, specific allegations that the Epstein family used a Jewish identity as a public mask while privately engaging in rituals tied to the ancient cult of Baal. She claims this wasn't symbolic, it wasn't metaphor, it was spiritual allegiance, ritual participation, a family pattern. And if that's true, the Epstein scandal runs much deeper than sex trafficking. According to her, the cult of Baal is alive, and the family lineage behind Jeffrey Epstein was steeped in it. The Epstein name, she claims, was a cover, a shield. They weren't just using philanthropy to hide abuse, they were using religion to gain access, protection, and energetic power. These weren't isolated events. These were rituals. And they weren't done for profit. They were done for devotion to something older than the modern world wants to acknowledge. Whew. Baal, in ancient Canaanite tradition, was a fertility and storm god, but Baal worship was also historically tied to child sacrifice, fire rituals, and sexual rites. How convenient. In some traditions, Baal and Moloch blur together. Both are seen as blood-hungry deities demanding the innocence of children. So in this case, it doesn't even require, killing the body of a child, but just by the sexual abuse of a child, you are sacrificing that child's innocence, and it ties into the sexual nature of the ritual. Modern conspiracy researchers often connect Baal symbolism to places like Bohemian Grove, Vatican architecture, Super Bowl halftime shows, and I guess more recently, maybe the Olympic crap. Art installations funded by elites. If Epstein's niece is telling the truth, her family wasn't just influenced by this energy, they were actively participating in it. Epstein's family may not be the only one. Many researchers believe elite families use false religious identities to cloak occult allegiances. Catholic by appearance, Luciferian by practice. Jewish in name, Baal aligned in secret. Even evangelical Christian in public while harboring Masonic or Thelemic ties behind closed doors. This duality is strategic. It creates trust from the outside and power from the inside. The power comes from secrecy, inversion, and the belief that deception itself is a spiritual tool. If even a fragment of this is true, it would expose global hypocrisy in how we define religious freedom. Shatter public trust in philanthropic institutions, force conversations about ritual abuse and intergenerational occultism that most people aren't ready for. That's why you haven't seen this in headlines. That's why she's not being interviewed on mainstream platforms. The machine doesn't care about truth. It cares about control and silence. Before we move into reflection, there's one more name that demands our attention. Virginia Jeffrey. She was one of Epstein's bravest accusers, most notably challenging figures like Prince Andrew and fighting for survivors worldwide. She published her memoir, which will be released posthumously in October 2025, only to be found dead days later. The official ruling was suicide, but let's be honest, how often do survivors of entrenched power structures just happen to die when their stories threaten to unravel the system? It's too convenient. When truth cuts too close, silence and its darkest accomplice often follows. What kind of power structure would need to hide behind religion, and why? Why are whistleblowers about trafficking often treated as liabilities instead of heroes? If Epstein's niece is right, how many other bloodlines are doing the same, and who's protecting them? I mean, just look at the trafficking of children in the film and music industry. I stand rooted in truth, courage, and protection of the innocent. I choose awareness over ignorance. I speak what must be spoken, even when the world is silent. If this episode made you feel something, don't let that feeling fade. Share it, save it, speak about it. Quiet courage is still courage. Follow Norse and Wonderland for more truth-telling in a world full of smoke and mirrors. Stay awake, stay grounded, stay veiled, but see everything. And if anything happens to me, it's more than a convenient accident. I didn't do it to myself. I'm happy, healthy, and cautious.
Chasing the rabbit, down we must go. Where does it end? Nobody knows. Hurry up now, we're running out of time. You better keep up or get left behind. Norse and Wonderland, when